Can I still feed my evergreens? Does grass go dormant due to excessive heat? And how do I control spider mites? I've got answers to these questions and more coming up on Garden Sense. Hey everybody, I'm Tim Ward and welcome back to Garden Sense. Well, folks, it is now middle of August and I'll tell you what, the email has really picked up as I'm starting to get a lot of questions regarding overseeding. Now, I kind of teased you a little bit last week that we were going to be doing a video on the overseeding process and some new products that we recommend and a slight change to that overall process. Well, the good news is we are going to move forward with that video and it's actually going to be next week. So for next week's video podcast, if you are looking to overseed your lawn, make sure you tune in. It's going to be a great episode. Now, as far as this week, I did select 5 questions out of all those emails that came in. So buckle up, everybody. Let's jump right in. Question number 1 is from Carolyn. Hi, Tim. Unfortunately, I have not fed my evergreens this year. Is it too late in northern Illinois? So there are 2 times of year where you want to feed your evergreens. It's either going to be in the springtime, which is going to allow those evergreens to produce some new growth, which in turn would then give plenty of time for that new growth to harden off and then therefore survive the winter. Or you want to feed them in the late fall. And just like we've talked about with grass and other plants, what that'll actually do is allow the evergreen to actually pull in that nutrition and store it in the roots. And therefore it's not going to produce the new growth over the winter time. It's going to strengthen the roots. And then in the springtime, you're actually going to see that tree really start to produce some new growth. Obviously, because the root system has basically released all of that nitrogen, all of that fertilizer, and it's now available for use by the tree. So actually, here's what I'd recommend. You're past that window and we're in an area right now where it may produce new growth and it definitely would not have time to harden off. But at the same time, you didn't explain to me what type of evergreens we were talking about because there are a number. So to be safe, I would actually hold off right now and instead look to the late fall to actually put down an application of Plant Trust. Plant Trust is the fertilizer that we highly recommend for your evergreens. And again, you can do that in the late fall as the tree starts to go dormant. It can actually take in that nutrition, and that's actually what's going to strengthen the root system and allow it to look really healthy next spring. So again, depending on how you look at it, you're either too late because you kind of missed that springtime, or you're too early because I want you to wait and actually feed it in the late fall. And obviously, Plant Trust is available over at rosensonline.com. The next question is from Jack. Tim, I live in Massachusetts and wonder what's a good product to kill wild violet in a lawn and when it should be applied. In terms of products for eliminating wild violet, there's a bunch I could recommend. Weed Beater Ultra, Crab E-Rad, Weed Free Zone. These are all products that will work on wild violets, and they're all available over at Rosens Online. So you can head over there now, research the products, and again, any one of them will work in your particular situation. Now, in terms of when to use them, you can absolutely put them down right now. And in fact, if you're looking to overseed here in a couple of weeks, it would be totally fine to go ahead and put down any of those products because again, within 2 weeks, it would be safe to overseed anyway. So again, head over to Rosens Online, look at Weed Beater Ultra, look at Crab E-Rad, and obviously we have Weed Free Zone. They're all very effective against wild violets. The third question is from James. Tim, I've got this weed that sprouts up between our paver walkways and patio and throughout our yard. What product should I use to knock this out? So this weed is actually called Spurge, and I'm frankly not surprised that it's coming up in between your pavers. That's a really common place for Spurge to start growing. You'll also see it if you ever walk down the side of a street on a paved road. You'll often see it either in the cracks on the edges along of that paved road or in the gravel. Spurge just loves areas where it's maybe a little bit drier, it doesn't get the sunlight, and frankly where it's not competing with ornamental grasses and things like that. So my guess would be that where the spurge is growing in your yard, you probably don't have really thick grass there. Now, the good news is it's pretty easy to kill. In fact, if you head over to Rosen's online, you will see a new product that we've added in the last couple of weeks called Spurge Power. Spurge Power will help eliminate the spurge, but it also provides protection against other types of broadleaf weeds. So head over to Rosen's online, click on Spurge Power, put it in your cart. It should be at your home in a couple of days. The next question is from Nat. Tim, does grass go dormant due to excessive heat, excessive dryness, or both? What brings a dormant grass out of dormancy? So during periods of excessive heat or long periods of drought, your grass can absolutely go dormant. Now, we've experienced grass going dormant. It happens every year during the winter time. So cool season grasses simply stop growing, but they'll remain green. And warm season grasses stop growing and they will turn brown. It looks like they're dead, but they're not. And going dormant during those times of year is natural for the grass. Grass will go dormant, again, when there's a lack of water or there is excessive heat during the summertime, or like what you're experiencing right now. The issue is when they go dormant during a time like this, there is a limit to how long they can stay dormant before they are simply going to die off. And so that time frame is going to vary depending on, again, some of the overall weather conditions, but anywhere between 4 and 6 weeks dormancy is pretty much the maximum amount you should allow that lawn to go dormant before it just simply may not come back. So how do you help either the grass avoid dormancy or bring it out of dormancy? Well, there's a couple of things. Obviously, water is the most important. So if you want to avoid your grass going dormant, make sure that it's getting plenty of water. The other thing you can do to help prevent it from going dormant is to feed it something like turf truss. Turf truss is a slow released fertilizer, and it's going to actually gently feed your lawn over a period of time. And it's a great way for your grass to weather those extreme heat months like we're experiencing in August, like we experienced in early September. Now, it's been a very, very hot summer, so I know that a lot of you are using turf truss to help keep your grass looking healthy. And based on all the emails and based on all the pictures that you've been sending me, we know that that works really, really well. But again, there is no substitute for water. So if your grass has gone dormant and you'd like to help it come back, make sure that you start watering it regularly, give it some turf truss, and it really, really should green up relatively quickly. The fifth and final question for today is from Karen. Hi Tim, I have a gardenia that is full of spider mites, and I sprayed it once with all-season insecticide oil and lost all my buds. Is there some type of systemic product I can use? So I'm really sorry to hear about your gardenia. That's never fun when you use a product and your buds fall off. Now, obviously, you need to read labels really, really carefully in terms of when you can apply certain products. Some products are more effective early, some are more effective late. And again, when a plant like gardenia is blooming, again, you want to be sensitive to its life cycle, to the blooms themselves. And it sounds like that insecticidal soap just unfortunately didn't work out well. Now, in terms of the product I would recommend, it's actually a product by Monterey. It's called Mite and Insect Control. And obviously, spider mites is listed right there on the label, and it will absolutely help get rid of the infestation that you're experiencing on your gardenia. So again, head over to Rosen's online and pick up a bottle of Mite and Insect Control by Monterey. You'll be really glad you did. All right, everybody, just a couple final thoughts here before we end this week's video podcast. Folks, we're experiencing, again, this really, really dry and really hot summer. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. So if you are experiencing what a lot of our customers are in terms of just yards starting to go dormant, grass really starting to show the wear and tear of the excessive summer heat, make sure that you're giving it kickstart as well as turf trust fertilizers. If you haven't put down turf trust in the summer, you can still get it down right now. And in fact, the recommended time for the third feeding is actually right around Labor Day. So again, in a couple of weeks, you can actually put down your third application of turf trust. Obviously, we talk a lot about Kickstart on this program, and that's a product that you can put down as often as once a week. And in fact, during this time of year, we highly, highly recommend it because it's a great way to help keep the grass green, help keep the roots strong, and help it keep nice and healthy. So head over to Rosen's online and pick up some turf trust, pick up some Kickstart. It's really, really going to help your lawn. Now, I mentioned this at the top of the program, but again, next week we are actually going to really dive into the overseeding process, and we have a new process that we're going to introduce to you that's going to save some time in terms of the labor. It's going to save time in terms of how long you need to wait to follow all of the steps, and it's going to save you a little bit of money as well. But again, there's certain applications where you need to follow this process. Obviously, the process that we have used for years still works. It's still highly effective, but we were introduced to this process last fall. We tried it out ourselves on a couple of lawns and saw really amazing results, and we obviously want to share it with you. So make sure that you tune in next week if you are in the market to overseed your grass. Folks, as always, we really appreciate each and every email that you send us. And if you do have a question, make sure you send the email directly to me, tim@rosensonline.com, and I will be sure to get back to you as quickly as possible. Folks, thank you so much, as always, for all the time that you devoted to us today. I hope you have an amazing rest of the week. God bless.